Well, good afternoon. This is Dave Jones with StormCenter Communications and GeoCollaborate. It's Saturday. It is September 28th, 2024. And look at this on the satellite image. This is the remnants of what was Hurricane Helene, then Tropical Storm Helene. Now it's just a post-tropical depression, and it's being absorbed in a larger circulation here over Kentucky. It is still producing rain, but it has left destruction and catastrophic flooding in its wake throughout North Carolina, southwestern Virginia, eastern Tennessee, western South Carolina, much of Georgia, and of course Florida, where it made landfall. Helene is but a piece of memory now, but it's going to take a long time for many people to recover. What I'd like to do is this update in two parts. The first part is just going to be a quick weather update because we do have our eyes on yet another tropical system that could be developing. It's very tough to do this. It is our job as meteorologists, but certainly with all the recovery going on, the last thing we want to hear about is another tropical system that could be forming. So I'm going to widen out a little bit and just show you what the Atlantic looks like. I'll take this full screen so you can see what it looks like. Here's what's the remnants of Helene is right here. And over here, way up in the Atlantic, we have, believe it or not, Hurricane Isaac. Hurricane Isaac has 105 mile per hour winds. It's a Category 2 hurricane. It's moving up and away, and it should pose no threat to land. It will to shipping, but not to land. We also have Tropical Storm Joyce. This is Tropical Storm Joyce spinning in the Atlantic Ocean. Joyce is forecast to diminish in intensity and basically dissipate over the central Atlantic. Thank goodness for that. But we also have our eyes on this one, this area of disturbed weather that's moved off the Cape Verde Islands and off the coast of Africa. This one is forecast to develop with a high confidence level and may become the next hurricane over the next 3 to 4 to 5 days when it gets into the central Atlantic here. So this one looks promising for further development. Now, we have another area that we're watching too, and that is down here by Central America. It looks like we will have some sort of development over the next few days. Let me show you GeoCollaborate, and I'll take that full screen here so you can see. Now, here's the forecast for Isaac. Isaac is forecast to go right up here in the North Atlantic. It will dissipate as sea surface temperatures are much colder there. But as we slide to the south here a little bit, you can see more activity. This is Tropical Storm Joyce, 50 mile per hour winds, and this is all the distance it's expected to go. And this is the expected development area, which now has a very high probability of development, 70% over the next 7 days, a 70% chance. But as we get over towards the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, this is what we're going to be watching. All indications are that an area of low pressure is going to develop here, and the National Hurricane Center gives it a probability of 50% over the next 7 days. So by about midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday time frame, we could see a tropical depression forming in this area and moving up towards, once again, Cancun, the Yucatan Peninsula, and then into the Gulf of Mexico. So our advice is all eyes in the Gulf Coast that have an interest in storms, which is about 100% of you, should keep an eye and monitor this. We will be updating this through video updates through the All Hazards Consortium and the Sensitive Information Sharing Environment throughout the week. We'll be watching this system as it gets its act together over the next several days. But all indications are we will have a tropical system in the Gulf of Mexico by the middle to latter part of next week. and we have no idea right now where it could impact. Could impact Texas to Florida, but we're certainly going to keep an eye on it. This is the track of Hurricane Helene, very rapid intensifier. Once again, just several days before landfall, the system didn't even exist, and it made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane. Right now, it is dissipating over Kentucky, being absorbed by this large low-pressure system. It is causing tremendous havoc, and has caused tremendous havoc in western North Carolina. And so I do want to zoom down here into Florida just for a moment, because we had a lot of inundation along the west coast of Florida. And in Pinellas County, Florida, they have a Nest camera of the storm surge when it started to come in into a house that had a garage and an electric car that was charging. And so the sheriff's department wanted to make this public so people understand when there's storm surge or any type of flood possibility. If you have an electric car or a golf cart that is in the garage, it could lead to something like this. Let's take a look. This is the car. You can see the storm surge coming in, and it starts to short out some of the electronics underneath of the car. And a fire ensued, engulfing the car and engulfing the house. So please, if you ever have to evacuate and leave your car, move your car and golf cart away from the house in case anything tragic like this happens. So I'm going to turn now to North Carolina. North Carolina and roads closed. This is a terrible development because of Hurricane Helene's rainfall. Keep in mind, before Helene arrived, western North Carolina had between 9 and 15 inches of rain in some areas, which really saturated the ground and caused flooding. So flooding was already underway when Helene arrived with its even more intense rainfall. So in western North Carolina, the North Carolina Department of Transportation is asking everyone to treat all western North Carolina roads as closed as of 2 o'clock today, Saturday, September 28th. There is major critical infrastructure damage out to the west. There are roads that have collapsed, major highways that have collapsed because of erosion. There have been landslides that have closed roads because of supersaturated soil coming down the mountains. And you can see this area, look at all that in western North Carolina, with all of those roads closed. So please check with the Department of Transportation in the state of North Carolina before you do anything else as far as travel. It is highly likely that the roads will be closed. It's a very difficult time, very catastrophic flooding, historic in nature. Many of the rainfall totals there have been historic indeed. And so now I want to turn to North Carolina's new interactive map for their flood inundation area. It's called the Flood Inundation Mapping and Alert Network. And I just want to show you this. This is live. And as we zoom around here into North Carolina, you can see a snapshot of what the rivers are doing around North Carolina. Anywhere there's an arrow with a down arrow, the water level is receding. And whenever it's up, it's increasing. But anywhere of these rivers are in red, these are rivers that are in flood stage. This one, the Catawba River at NC Highway 16 near Millersville, North Carolina, is in moderate flood stage at 24.2 feet right now. This one over here is also in flood stage, but it's going down. This particular one over here, further to the west, is also in flood stage. This is the French Broad River near Marshall. This is in major flooding conditions, and the stage is 14.2 feet. 14.2 feet. That's very high. Now, I'm going to zoom right in here into Asheville, North Carolina, because I want to show you some of the tremendous work that the state of North Carolina has done with regard to flooding and trying to visualize the flooding in downtown. We all have heard on the news that downtown Asheville has been hurt hard around the river and flooding coming down the streets. But I want to show you this. This is the French Broad River. It is in flood stage right now, and you can identify and see some of the buildings that have been destroyed or impacted by the flood. This particular one here is a non-residential business. It has 2.3 feet of water in it, and the estimated structural damage of $383,000. This is, you can follow this right down the river to see all of these structures that have been impacted. This particular one, a non-residential building with 4.4 feet of water in it, estimated damage of $479,000. Folks, rivers and flooding take no prisoners. They are incredibly damaging and take a long time to recover from. This particular one, a non-residential building, 6.9 feet in that building right now along Riverside Drive. Estimated structural damage, $401,000. The state of North Carolina is mapping the state with LIDAR. That's high-resolution imaging for elevation. And when that's done, these structures can be identified so we can see which ones are flooded and what's the estimated damage. Here's one here with 5.4 feet in it. Estimated structural damage of $1 million. We can just keep going with these structures down here. Helene is going to be a multi-billion-dollar disaster here in the United States. But this is visualizing, based on the river gauges, how high the water is coming up right now. And there are major rail lines coming right through downtown Asheville that are very, very close to the flooding. And the rail sector has also reported that there's some East Tennessee rail tracks that are closed. You can see that in the scroll up above in the red. So this is Asheville, North Carolina. And as we head out here into areas like the French Broad River, you can see some of these structures too that are inundated because of this massive flood. All of these roads are impacted and underwater as well. It's going to take a long time for Asheville to recover from this, but they have the support of the nation behind them. I can zoom out here. You can see the extent of the high-resolution mapping that has been done so far for Asheville, but this is a tremendous effort. And what you can do with LIDAR to get high-resolution elevation data, and then with river gauge stages and flood modeling, we can give everybody a visual of how high the water is. So the state of North Carolina is hit hard. So is eastern Tennessee and southwest Virginia. There are crews that are responding. As a matter of fact, I want to show you here. We're down to under 4 million without power, but not much under 4 million. You can see 3,628,369 customers currently out of power. There are many areas that are blocked from utility workers to get in and assess damage. Many small towns are cut off with no way to get out. They're only going to have to get out through helicopter or boat. Many of the roads are washed out. And so it's going to take a long time for some of these crews to get into areas because critical infrastructure has been impacted, where there's been erosion along the banks of a river. Sometimes power lines go along those areas in those right-of-ways, and some areas have been cut off completely because of infrastructure damage and erosion. Other areas to distribution and transmission are being assessed right now, and certainly power is going to be restored as quickly as possible for anyone who needs power. Multiple hospitals have been evacuated as well. So this is an ongoing disaster that is going to take a long time to recover from. As a matter of fact, there are over 50,000 resources mobilized to expedite power restoration. You can see that on this map from the Edison Electric Institute, EEI. All those states in blue are sending crews to help with power restoration in many states, from Ohio to West Virginia to Kentucky to Tennessee, North Carolina, Virginia. They're going into South Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. All those crews from around the country are coming in under what's known as mutual assistance, and that is so we can get more power restored as quickly as possible through the All Hazards Consortium, helping to coordinate some of the information sharing using StormCenter and these video updates and GeoCollaborate with our dashboards. We're all working towards the same goal, to keep people informed and sharing information safely across state boundaries and across private sector organizations. This is when everybody has to come together. And so finally, I do want to talk about, because resources are tight, resources are very tight, that there is a disaster fuel response program from the Energy Marketers of America. They have a program where everyone who participates that provides fuel around the country has volunteered to help deliver fuel into disaster areas if people need it. Now, this is businesses, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, government agencies. If you need fuel, contact Sherry Stone at this phone number or her email address, and they will help to coordinate fuel delivery. This is not if you need gasoline at home. It's not if you need to get gas for your generator. It's not for that. It's for businesses to get up and running, including hospitals, anybody who needs fuel. This is a volunteer network that can get fuel delivered through various means. So that's it for this update. I'm Dave Jones with GeoCollaborate and StormCenter Communications. This has been an update for the All Hazards Consortium and the sensitive information sharing environment. Yes, we are monitoring another area of potential development right down here in the Central America region, right in the area where Helene came from. Doesn't mean that this new one is going to be anywhere near intense, but the sea surface temperatures are conducive and the atmospheric conditions are becoming more conducive for development of a tropical system in that region, moving up towards the Gulf of Mexico by late in the week next week. We'll keep you posted. We'll be doing video updates throughout the week, once a day, until it becomes necessary to increase the frequency. Thanks for watching this update. We will keep you posted. We'll have another update for you during the day tomorrow. Thanks for watching. This is what the power restoration process looks like. The first thing that they look at are power plants. The power plants are the primary sources of power production. They're assessed for damage and restored. Then they move to transmission lines. High voltage transmission lines serving thousands of customers over wide areas are repaired. Then the substations. Substations are brought online in order for power to reach local distribution lines. Then essential services. Power is restored to essential services and facilities critical to public health and safety, such as hospitals, nursing homes, fire and police departments, and water systems. Then large service areas. Crews are dispatched to repair lines that will return service to the largest number of customers in the least amount of time. Service lines to neighborhoods, industries, and businesses are restored systematically. And finally, individual homes. Once major repairs are completed, service lines to individual homes and smaller groups of customers are restored. Some customers may not be able to receive power to their homes because of damage. Flooding can damage electrical systems, and inspections by a licensed electrician may be required before a home can receive power. Customers should never touch damaged equipment.